Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to the Mental Wellness Wake Up Show, a weekly podcast where growth minded, creative people come to learn best practices from both spirituality and psychology that create lasting well being. I am your host, mental wellness expert, improvised acting teacher, therapist, and coach, Dawn McMillan. Let's get to it.
All right, so what I want to talk about today are signs, not like road signs, but signs and symbols and omens and synchronicities. So, before I lose those of you who are super rational and logical and don't believe in stuff like that, just bear with me because our brains are meaning making machines. We make meaning out of everything. We see a certain pattern, we see a face in it. That's just how we're wired. Let's go with it. So, whether or not you believe in synchronicity, whether or not you believe in signs from the universe or God or whatever, what you decide that something means is good information. It tells you about what's going on inside of you. So, it is worth talking about and thinking about what signs and symbols mean because that is information that can help you understand yourself and the world better. Okay? For those of you who are with me on, yeah, synchronicity, spirit guides, signs, tarot cards, let's go. Let's go. But before we jump into the meat of this episode, let me first say to you, thank you for being here. You don't have to. You don't have to be here, and you're here. And I am so grateful. And I'm so grateful the way that the podcast is growing. Let's keep it up. Like, subscribe, share. Our little community is a group of people who are interested in being better humans. And don't you think we can use a world full of better humans? All right. So, I was inspired to talk about signs and symbols because of my own incredibly disturbing dream last night. And my kiddo was sharing that they were having some disturbing dreams as well. So, what is that about? There are a couple of theories about dreams and what they're for and how to use them. One, which I think is completely fascinating, is that your brain creates dreams, visual images, does visual storytelling at night in order to keep your visual cortex, your visual processing systems from being overtaken by other systems. When we do not use a portion of our brain, when that real estate gets freed up, your brain's like, hey guys, we got more real estate. Who needs a little bit more? And it starts using it for other things, motor activity or hearing or uh, taste or speech or whatever. So one of the current theories is that the reason that your brain is feeding you those images is because during the waking world, for those of us who are sighted at least, our visual processing system takes up so much of our brain's energy and real estate that if we were not using it for a full 8 hours, we'd be in big trouble when we woke up. The brain would already be reassigning those pieces. I think that's fascinating. Another idea is that dreaming is your brain's rehearsal for negative content. Not necessarily negative content, it's just your brain's rehearsal. So your brain takes all the input that it's been receiving from interior thoughts and external inputs, and it tries to make sense of it. It lets you practice the things that are provoking anxiety. It lets you play out ideas and thoughts and feelings. It's rehearsal. It's just trying to make sense of things, figuring out what's important and worth remembering, figuring out what to discard. It's your brain's way of organizing the waking world. Here's another idea. Nightmares are meant to wake you up. The reason why you have a disturbing nightmare that actually wakes you up is that there's something going on, usually physically or in your environment, that requires you to be awake. Or, right, so you have this dream, it's so disturbing you shake yourself awake. It could be that you were, like, breathing weird or, something touched your foot, like your blanket touched your foot in a way that made your brain think it was a snake, and so it wakes you up so that you can attend to the waking world. Or another possibility is that your nightmares wake you up, or your nightmares get worse in order to really get into that material that you have not yet fully processed in the waking world. And so your brain is doing its best to process those deeply disturbing things in your psyche because it has to get processed. And if you're not doing it in the waking world, with the help of a professional like a therapist like me, then your brain's doing it while you're sleeping. So, those are some really interesting ideas about dreams and dreaming. One of the ways that I think it's fun to look at dreams is to tell the story of the dream from all the different characters. So, for example, in my dream last night, one of the plots was that there were these two people who got a hold of my computer, put a virus on it, and then gave it back. And they're like, "We're going to charge you $100 a year. We're just gonna take it from you. We took your computer, you can have it back, otherwise it's gonna work fine, but, for returning your computer, we're just gonna dip in once a year and take $100." So if I were to explore that dream for what does this dream mean, I would start with the character who in the dream I identified as me. What was the feeling tone? What does that scenario evoke? So thinking about there's a being taken advantage of but not overwhelmed, right? They didn't keep my computer, which would be a disaster, you know? I don't know about you, but in a fire, you know, get all the living creatures in the computer. Everything else is likely to be replaceable. So, um, the idea that something of value of mine is compromised, maybe, right? I didn't attend to something important and now it's compromised and there's a price to be paid. Like that's some way that the character that I was identifying might be interpreted. And then what about the people who stole it? Like it was a pair of people. So if I tell it from one of the one that did most of the talking, is there a part of me that feels like taking something from someone else for my own gain, right? Is there a way in which I'm taking advantage of a situation? Not horribly, horribly so. Not, "Oh, I stole the computer and I'm never giving it back," and really ruining someone's life. But is there a part of me that feels like it's not on the up and up in some way? And then what about the silent partner, right? The one who was involved in the shenanigans but didn't say anything. Is there a way in which I am being witness to something and participating in it by not stopping it? Savvy listeners are going to recognize, is that the drama triangle? Yeah. So that's the other way of thinking about things is using the psychological principles that you already know. So in my dream, I created a drama triangle. There was a victim, the character I identified with, there was a perpetrator, and a bystander. Interesting, right? So IFS, internal family systems, we're talking a lot about parts work, right? So that's me, like what's the parts work that I need to bring to my conscious attention? All right. So that's how that would work. So you think about a dream that you have and you interrogate each part of each person or thing in the dream. Like I could also interrogate it from the role of the computer. And you ask, what does this feel like? What does this remind me of? And then you're able to think about what that dream might be, what meaning you can make of that dream that's actually helpful for you in the waking world. Cool, right? So you don't even have to get into universal symbolism. You don't have to go get a dream journal that says, oh, you dreamt of an ocean. That's your subconscious feelings. Well, maybe, probably, But I think dreaming about the ocean is gonna mean something differently to a surfer than it is to, someone who can't swim, or to someone who lives on a houseboat, or to someone who lives on an island versus someone who lives in Kansas and where there is no ocean. So, this idea that the symbols that occur for you, whether in a dream or a tarot card reading or in real life, if you interrogate them, if you get curious about them, can take you down a path of awareness and insight. So, here's a fun thing to do. I call it radio tarot. You can do Spotify tarot if you want. Here's what you do. It's so fun. You take a playlist of something and you put it on shuffle. And then you're like, we'll do a 3-card pull just for kicks. So you would say, okay, this next song represents the present moment. And then you press play. And then some song will come up. And I like to, just for me, I like to go to the chorus and figure the chorus is telling me something about my present moment. So you're like, what does that remind me of, right? So I'm going to use old songs so that more of us have a frame of reference for it. So what if it's like "Baby Love" by the Supremes, right? So I'm sorry, I'm just cracking myself up right now. So you're like, okay, I'm listening to old Motown music from the 60s and 70s, and this represents the present moment, and "Baby Love" by the Supremes comes on. If you're in a romantic relationship, you might think, "Oh, it's this I'm thinking about my honey." If you're not in a romantic relationship, you're like, "Okay, the present moment is telling me about, I'm single right now, but I'm thinking about whether or not I should get back out there." Right? Whatever it tells you is fun. And then you go, "Okay, this next one is gonna be my course of action." And then you skip to the next song. And let's say, Tears of a Clown comes up. I don't know why I'm sticking to Motown, but here we go. Tears of a Clown comes up, and you're like, "Oh, that's telling me to be authentic, right?" Because the character in this story is pretending like they're happy, but they're really not. So the radio tarot, the Spotify tarot is telling me to be my true self. Okay, cool. And then you do one more. You're like, okay, this is going to be the final outcome of my situation. And then let's say Heard It Through the Grapevine comes on. And you're like, oh, it's telling me to stop gossiping. Or maybe it's telling you to start gossiping. So then your little Motown tarot reading is to think about your love life and what it means to you, be authentic, and maybe be careful about who you're getting information from. Totally ridiculous, but fun. And if you like really engage with the signs and symbols around you, you really do get good advice from life, from the universe, from the coincidences, if that's the way that you want to think about it. And you really can play with this. You have a dilemma, and you're like, okay, within the next hour, I'm going to get signs that tell me what to do. And I guarantee you, you're going to get signs that tell you what to do. And how is that going to work? For you logical brained people, it's going to be you will actively ignore the things that don't support the choice you want to make, and you will be drawn towards things that support the choice you do want to make. So it just points out to you what you want to do. If you want to be really playful for it, playful with it, just like literally look at signs, right? Literally look at signs when you're walking down the hallway at your job. Like, just notice the signs, danger, slippery floor. Like, then there's, you walk by an office and it's like 1111. You're like, ooh, magic number. The point I am sharing with you really is that there are hints all around you. There are images and stories occurring and unfolding in your environment all the time. Even when you are asleep, there are images and stories unfolding. Use them. Use them as tools for exploration. What am I making this mean? Isn't that interesting? I see a rainbow. Maybe today I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough for LGBTQI rights. Let me go call my senator. I see a rainbow. Maybe this time I'm like, I haven't worn color in a while. I'm going to wear pink tomorrow. I see a rainbow. I decide to stop by Rainbow Jewelers and buy myself something sparkly. Whatever. Take advantage of the things that are to help you understand yourself and how to choose to create the things that you desire. Because life has an opportunity to be fun. You can approach the world with curiosity. You can approach the world with delight. You can approach the world as if everything is giving you messages for your good. You can approach the world as if everything is a sign designed to help you. To help you, whether it's your own dreams, a tarot card reading, Spotify tarot, or a literal road sign that you pass on your way to the mall. What if the universe is speaking to you every second of every day? And if you pay attention, you can, you can learn something. Now, you are not allowed to use this against yourself. You're not allowed to look at everything and go, that's more proof that I'm a loser. No, 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 no. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't do that. You're flipping through Instagram and you see Janelle Monáe and you're like, oh, she's so pretty. That is not a sign that you're so ugly. No, 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 no. You look Janelle Monáe, you see Janelle Monáe doing her Janelle Monáe thing, and you're like, oh my goodness, look how much beauty there is in the world. And she's dancing. Ooh, dancing is fun. I'm gonna dance too. Got it? So look around. Just look around. Look around. What signs and symbols are available to you that you can use to understand yourself and the world better? And if you want to like dig into symbology and read Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell and Hannah Arendt and I don't know, what's that guy that wrote the Da Vinci Code? His stuff is actually based on some really interesting things. If you want to get into what does a cup symbolize, that's fun too. But you don't have to. You can just think, I keep seeing pictures of cups. What does a cup make me think about? How does a cup make me feel? And then see what happens. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if not, please come back anyway. Go to the archives and re-listen to one that you did enjoy. And I'm really endeavoring to share from what's present for me. I'm really wanting to walk the talk. In my episode, Authenticity Needs an Upgrade, I talked about genuineness, genuosity, being genuine. And as this idea about symbols and symbolism and signs is present for me, I want to share from that space. I want to always show up here for you as me. Because how am I supposed to tell you to go around being you in the world if I don't do it myself? And you know why I think you should be you? Because you are freaking awesome. I am not kidding. You are amazing, right? I know. You are whole. You are perfect. You are complete. You are worthy and deserving right here, right now, and for all time of a life so glorious it transcends even your own imagination. Until next time.